Hey everyone, it's Arfon with Grow Automate Scale, and I am here with another episode of the Successful Lead Generating Coaches Show. And today I'm going to talk about DIY versus done for you, and should you learn as yourself or hire an expert? Okay, so if this is your first time, tuning into the channel, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe to if you're on YouTube or if you're on your favorite podcast, subscribe, give us some love, share with someone you think might be helpful for. I do a lot of tips and strategies around Facebook and Instagram advertising for online coaches. If you have a membership, if you have a group coaching program, if you're looking just to generate leads and you're looking to get out of that organic grind, my content is for you. So without further ado, let's dive in today. And I get this often, DIY versus done for you. Should you do yourself? Should you learn as yourself or should you hire an expert? Now, I recommend this, okay? When I think about ads, I think about advertising. I think about the subsection of marketing, and I believe that as a business owner, we should learn marketing. We should know a bit of marketing. And what I mean by that is we don't need to be an expert. We don't need to be the one to know exactly what button to click and to do this or that, but we need to know high level of advertising and what are the KPIs, what are the key performance indicators that make advertising successful. So I believe you should learn as yourself for that at a very minimum. In addition to that, I do recommend you get an expert to help you teach that, whether it's a course, if you're going to enroll in a college program, whether it's online college, something like that, to where you can learn a little bit more about the technical things of advertising. I think is super helpful. One thing that's also been really helpful to me, especially, has been learning about advertising as it relates to how to make consumers make a decision. So, in other words, how do I create an ad that's going to show up to somebody, whether they're sitting watching TV on Netflix, Hulu, Disney, or YouTube? But in particular, how do we get somebody to take action? They're scrolling on Facebook. What are people on Facebook for? They're there nowadays. It's for all kinds of stuff, but traditionally, and for in most cases, we're there to connect with friends and family and people that we want to be social with, right? And we want to be social, so we want to be able to go on there and just look at great videos, funny videos, things like that. I don't really go on there because I'm going to scope out the ads. As a matter of fact, everyone's trying to get rid of the ads because it's interruption advertising. So really, when it comes to DIY or done for you, I do recommend that you should learn ads yourself and learn it from the macro level, the overview level of how is this going to work for me? How is this going to work for my business? Okay. Um, Now, also, understanding when it makes sense for you to DIY and when to outsource. So I come across a lot of coaches. So if you listen to this and you're a brand new coach, you haven't made your first sale yet, advertising is not where you should be looking at first. Like this is like this comes after, like take a step back and go into marketing in general, market research, things like that, right? But if you are a coach who've been getting traction, you're probably making 5 figures a year, heading towards 6 figures, or you are making 6 figures a year. When does it make sense to DIY and when to outsource? So I think it makes sense to DIY when you're looking at your income and you're operating from that profit first mentality of like, hey, I generated $10,000. Okay. Now I know that from that, I need to put aside something for marketing, whether it's paid or organic. You need to be putting aside something for organic. So this is where it makes sense to DIY. If you're going to be using Facebook ads, which I recommend, if you have, if you're able to put an extra 500, 1,000 or something like that for advertising, this could be an opportunity to where you could DIY it. How a lot of our clients get started. Is how we got started. We started DIYing for our challenges, our lead magnets, things like that, just to be able to start getting leads in the door and then converting those leads. And it made sense because again, it was just when we first started, the first ad was about $20, and then our first launch we spent $150 on ads, and then from there we end up increasing that. Now, granted, it was back in 2018, 2017, 2019 when ad spend was a little different, and the what you would spend on 150 is probably the equivalent of like 400 or 500 now. Unfortunately, it's just that out of our controls as advertisers, just the landscape and the marketplace and how Facebook is working now. Okay, so before I go on a rant, it does make sense to DIY when you're at that early phase and you want to start really learning how to get things going. It does make a lot of sense to DIY. Even if you want to outsource and you're looking to get someone to help you out, this is where it can get tricky because you're DIYing, you have like 500 to 1,000 to spend. You want to outsource, you want someone to get your ads set up and run and manage it. So someone's going to be charging you like 200 or $300 to do something like that, and then they have not a licking clue of what they're doing. They have no idea what is happening. They don't know how to set up the ads, and this is where it can be like, okay, ads not work for me. So it makes sense to DIY and outsource it. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, you want to get that education first of how what is the KPIs, how is ads going to work for me, because the thing is, if you DIY or outsource, you're gonna have failures. I'd be lying to you if I told you my agency has a 100% success rate. And if anyone tells you that they have a 100% success rate when it comes to advertising, like every campaign does not make it. Every campaign does not hit gold. And it takes some trial, it takes some testing, and we're not like throwing spaghetti, we're actually testing. We're thoughtfully like, okay, based on my market research, what are the effective hooks, what are the effective headlines, and we're going in testing to see what is actually taken off. Like, we may have three headlines, all three may generate leads, but only one of them is going to really scale you up to the point to where you can actually, your cost is not going to go ridiculously high, and you got to be able to test that. Okay, and you want to have the right information to be able to do that, which is one of the reasons why I share so much about my YouTube channel, because one of my goals is to educate the online business owners now, so that way they can DIY and start getting some results and then be able to outsource, right? Because here's the thing, once you know it, you start realizing, okay, I don't need to be spending 5, 10, 15 hours a week in Facebook Ads Manager. I need to outsource this now, because now I know like my messaging, I'm more dialed in, I know my ideal client, I'm ready to now play this, at a higher level. And you're also at that point to where you can actually make a better investment. Now, working with someone like me, who have a team, who've been doing it for a while, we're not gonna take you on as a client if you're just gonna be spending 500 or so. And it's not just like that, is that's income, that's money, that could be a lot or a little, however you feel about that, doesn't matter. It's a matter of like, would I be able to get you back a return on ad spend from $500, that's gonna like say, okay, let's now continue going, let's do this again. It's just that it's like that amount is really to get your foundation in place, make sure that you're that you have a proven concept, that people are interested, that you're seeing you get conversion rates. Now, you do want to convert some people from there, but the thing is that it doesn't the conversion of spending 500 to generating an extra 50 to 100 leads or so is not going to be something to where you're going to see like a crazy big needle movement, unless for some reason you convert somebody into like a high ticket, five, six, $10,000 program, which I've seen clients do. We actually had a client the other day did something exactly like that. But those aren't every single day, so it can't be like, oh, I'll run every single time I run a $500 ad and I'll make 10, 15, $20,000. And of course, everyone will be doing it, right? So you want to make sure that you are implementing the right strategies, and you're getting the education from the right people, those who are, that they resonate with you, their methods resonate with you, it makes sense, you feel excited about it. I've worked with a few, about a few dozen coaches at this point now, some for marketing and some for just life. And those who are in marketing, sometimes the methods don't resonate with me, and I have a lot of resistance. I'm like, I'm just not going to do that. And then others are like, yes, I like this feels good. Like doing a masterclass or a workshop feels good compared to doing a challenge, just because I know my life. I know, we work from home, we have businesses, we homeschool, and it's just doing a challenge is it's challenging. It's not something that's gonna make me feel good. I'm not gonna want to do it. I'm gonna be extremely resistant. Okay, so know yourself too as well with that. And then lastly, when it makes sense to DIY is, okay, are you techie? And this is where you may want to DIY just the education to know what things mean. So that way, if you're not super techie, you're just like, look, I just can't. I just cannot go into Ads Manager and figure it out. I'm just not tech. I get it. I get it. It happens, right? Like, you have people who they have a hard time figuring out an iPhone. Others who are just like the they pick it up and it naturally makes sense, right? So I get it. All of us are a little different when it comes to tech. So if that's the case, also, you may want to outsource. And that is also where you may want to outsource um, in a way that make sure you vet your agencies, vet your freelancers, and potentially even working with somebody at a one-on-one level before you go totally hands off to where you're just getting reports and you have no idea what they mean. You want to know what they mean. You want to know what's working, what's not working, so that way you can know, like, hey, I'm running ads. Facebook is only going to show 7 days of data. After 7 days, what are my leads doing? Am I getting a 30-day break even? Am I getting a 60-day profit? Am I getting a 90-day significant return on my ad spend? All these different things you want to be able to know. Okay. So the real cost of figuring out yourself is that, like, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what KPIs to follow or what metrics mean. So is your click-through rates where it needs to be? Are your conversion rates where they need to be? Are your the costs just to advertise your, whatever it is you're going to be advertising, are those too high, too low? And what ends up happening, I've come across and I've audited dozens of accounts and I've worked with dozens of clients now to where they've on their own spent thousands, tens of thousands of dollars trying to figure it out. And I've had little results to show. Like, they're doing well organically, they're converting, they're making money, and they want to get off the roller coaster of just organic grinding and grinding and just being on constantly. And they want to be able to have more predictability in their lead generation, be able to scale more too as well. Like, if you're going to do so much organically. And really, what ends up happening is that going this approach, just thinking like, oh, I'll figure it out, ends up wasting quite a bit of money. And I know that from experience because when I first started, there was not a lot of training available for online coaches to where I can go and see exactly how to advertise a lead magnet. There were people starting up and they were starting to give trainings about this, starting to break it down. But it was also very all over the place to where you listen to one person, they're telling you to run like a traffic campaign. Another person's telling you to run engagement. Another person's telling you to run like a link click and video views. And you're like, wait, that doesn't really make any sense. So I had to do a little bit of trial and error on my own. But the thing is, I learned the platform, I learned what the objectives were. So when I was going and doing it on my own, I knew now, okay, well, wait a minute. It doesn't really make sense if I'm trying to get leads for my freebie for me to run a traffic campaign. That doesn't really add up. So I just went ahead and did it as a lead, and I started seeing getting results, started helping other people that were doing the same thing, making those mistakes and stuff like that. So that's something there. And then lastly, if you are going to outsource, even if you're doing it yourself, you're typically going to be following somebody. I've very come across few people who are just totally blind, like not looking at ads training or something like that. But how do you spot a good ads manager and how do you avoid the bad ones? So the first and foremost, the biggest thing to always do is look at people that's in your niche. Okay, so someone that's working in your niche is ideally where you want to be. And I say this strongly because, again, I work a lot with online coaches, life coaches, health coaches, relationship coaches, wealth coaches, different things like that. If you're a business coach, this is the niche I work in. And what I've come across is that depending, someone could be really great. It could be an amazing ads manager, and they could like scale your Shopify store from $1,000 a month to 20, 30, $40,000 a month because they have the skills and abilities to do that. But now, when it comes to running a campaign for a coach and to be able to generate leads for a webinar and then convert, then retarget those people to do a sale, they don't have any idea. They don't know how to create the graphics. They don't know how to write the copy. It's very different, but they're a very good ads manager. Okay. But they would be a bad one for your business because they lack the expertise in your niche. Okay, so that's one of the biggest things automatically is find someone that's in your niche. Be able to look at their case studies is very important. If they have case studies, analyze 2 to 3 of those or more to be able to see, hey, does this resonate or is this closely to what I'm offering or close to my business model and structure? Okay, that's going to also show you, hey, you got a good person here. They understand more, they understand the entire process of the marketing, not just like how to set up and run ads. Okay, that's another important one there for it. Okay, and naturally, whenever you're talking to somebody, you should be able to get a feel that they are a subject matter expert. And a couple questions to really ask them to really identify is really get an idea of like what type of strategies are they going to be using for your campaign. And you'll be able to see, like, if someone's just like, I think we can do this, or I think that, or it's like we may, or, you can kind of get an idea, like they don't really have the confidence that, like, they should be able to, like, look at what you have and give you a strategy, or be able to tell you, hey, give me a few, let me analyze this, and I'll write you something up. That way, you got a good one. A lot of clients do that, like, sometimes we come on board and we're like, hey, we want to get the strategy, and we hop on a strategy call, something where we can plan it all out. And that way, now they have the trust to know that we understand what they're trying to advertise. We understand their audience, their messaging, things like that. Okay. So it can be sometimes tough to spot someone good, or you can get duped. But one of the biggest things is to know, look at past results. Of course, recommendations or referral from a friend or something like that is also very, very good to do. And then also, anything you can do to be able to do some sort of vetting on them. And for me, so for example, when we hire ads managers, one of the things that we do is we really vet them. So I look, and basically, like, I give them sometimes I give them scenarios, like, hey, this is a scenario with an account. What would you do? So think of, like, your business and what makes the more sense, and what are some of the qualifying questions you can have outside of, like, um, how long have you been doing ads or stuff like that? Because I come across people who've been running ads since Facebook came out, and they still don't have it locked down to where they know a strategy. They just know how to click and how to set up ads and run ads. But when it comes to strategy and, like, crafting a graphic and a copy and an offer that's going to convert, like, that's where, like, they're missing the mark. So, you want to, those are going to be your good people, the ones who are going to know what they're doing. And of course, they're going to cost more, not going to be as cheap as if you're going to go on Fiverr or Upwork and get someone for, 5-10 bucks an hour. You're going to get different results if you're going to pay 25, 30, or if you're going to pay just a contract fee. I don't work hourly. When we do contracts, you can hire me for an hour, but we don't work hourly, so we just do flat rate, because it's more about what are you looking to do, and how we're going to help you do that, rather than me being limited to working with you for 3 hours a week, and then, I'm still helping you out, but the 3 hours are done. Now we're stuck. You got to pay me more. So I'm like, oh, flat rate. Let's just do it. I just operate that way better. So, consider some of these things to see what's really going to be the best for you. But again, my recommendation ultimately is to, when it comes to DIY versus done for you, I don't think it's a question of one or the other. I think it's a combination of both. You want to be able to DIY at some level, and then you also want to be able to know, like, hey, where do I need help? Right? Do I need help with really being able to have a team that can really do good messaging and graphics and stuff like that for me? Or can I do that myself? And I really am looking for more now, someone who can just make sure that they're really good at setting up the ads and reporting and optimizing and things like that. Really look at that hybrid version of it, and also identify the gaps you have. What are the gaps you have? What don't you know about advertising? And how can you get up to speed with that, right? I try to produce content that can help you to understand more about how Facebook ads work, so you can best position yourself to get results. Okay? So, hope this has been helpful to you. Again, if there's someone that you think this may be helpful for, share with them. Don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel. Your support means the world to me. And of course, if you're able to give a review, that would also be super helpful, because that allows us to reach other people that would otherwise not find us without that review to kind of help Apple push them out or something like that, right? So, with that being said, thanks for tuning in today. And if you are looking for support, if you do need help, whether you're looking for DIY but you want to get the expert guidance, or you want to be able to work with a team that understands how to get it done, you can schedule a call with me, arfanhussein.com/call, slash start, arfanhussein.com/start. And what we'll do is we'll hop on a free, it's a complimentary 30-minute scale with ads call. We'll be able to look at what you have going on, get an idea of your audience, your ideal client, and see what would be a great way for you to get your campaigns going. If you're already established and you're looking to get some scalability, you're tired, you want to be able to take your launches from 4 and maybe low 5 figures to upwards to high 5 figures and 6 figures. Let's also get on a call. Let's talk. Let's talk about scaling and see how we can help you out. We'll run some numbers and we'll see what you got and how we can help you out. And with that being said, again, this is Arfon with Grow Automate Scale, and I will catch you all on the next video. Have a great day.